Welcome to Legal Riffs with the law offices of Jason L. Wilson. If your Social Security disability claim has been denied, should you choose to have an in-person disability hearing in front of a Social Security judge, or should you choose to have a disability hearing by phone? A lot of disability lawyers recommend that their clients choose phone hearings, but I usually recommend that my clients choose in-person hearings. And we're going to talk about the reasons for that. Now, I've been watching some YouTube videos made by other disability lawyers talking about this issue. One video that I watched had a lawyer saying that the reason he recommends phone disability hearings for his clients is because justice is blind. Now, he's talking about the statue of Lady Justice that you may have seen. It's a statue of a woman holding the scales of justice in her hand while wearing a blindfold across her eyes. And this lawyer said that justice is served blind, and phone hearings are a great way to do that. Well, that could be, well, not could be, that is one of the dumbest things that I've ever heard a lawyer say. The phrase justice is blind doesn't have anything to do with what the judge can or cannot see. Justice is blind means that justice should be fair and impartial. And so a judge should be fair and impartial. That includes Social Security judges. Whether or not the judge can see the person that is being judged has nothing to do with whether the judge is fair and impartial. It just doesn't apply. That was kind of a ridiculous thing for this lawyer to say. But what he was trying to do is he was trying to talk about phone hearings because during a phone hearing, the Social Security judge cannot see the person with the disability claim. Now, I've watched some other YouTube videos made by other disability lawyers, and they give maybe a better understandable reason for recommending phone hearings. These other lawyers that I've seen say that they're afraid that if their clients have in-person disability hearings where the Social Security judges can see the clients, that the judges may deny the disability claims because they think the clients don't look disabled. Now, that's kind of an interesting position on the issue, and I'll give you my thoughts on that. So I actually had a disability hearing this morning, and it was an in-person disability hearing. The client has a severe anxiety disorder. That's a big part of the client's disability claim. And when I first arrived at the Social Security hearing office, I walked into the waiting room of the hearing office. And when I saw my client sitting in the waiting room, I immediately noticed that the client looked extremely anxious. He was sitting there, kind of had his arms folded in real tight, and he was shaking. He was visibly shaking his entire body. And he had this look of extreme anxiety on his face. He looked extremely uncomfortable. And the same thing happened during the hearing when we went into the hearing room with the Social Security judge. The entire time we were in there, which was about an hour, the client looked the same way. He was shaking and he looked extremely anxious and extremely uncomfortable, and he was almost tearful. That's how uncomfortable that he was. So during the hearing, I was watching the client and I was also watching the Social Security judge, and I wanted to see how the judge was reacting to the client. And I could tell that the judge was picking up on how anxious my client looked during the hearing, and the judge was reacting to that. And when the judge was questioning my client, the judge was doing it in an extremely nice way and a very gentle way. And so I could tell that the judge was noticing the visible anxiety of my client, and that was influencing the way the judge was interacting with my client. the judge seemed to be very empathetic to my client's situation, which was a good thing. And that brings up an important point because all of this happened because we were having an in-person hearing. If we had had a phone hearing, the judge would not have been able to see the client, and so the judge would not have been able to see any of these visible, highly visible signs of severe anxiety. And I've had this very same experience in many, many cases. I've had a lot of clients that have had severe anxiety disorders, and a lot of them present this way during their in-person hearings. So the judges can actually visually see how anxious the clients are. I've seen the same thing happen in cases involving, for example, chronic back pain. I've had lots and lots of clients that have severe chronic back pain problems, and it tends to cause those clients to have a lot of difficulty walking and sitting for long periods of time. And I can't tell you how many cases I've had where the Social Security judge gets to see how slowly the client walks into the room because the client is in pain while walking. And I can't tell you how many times I've had clients with chronic back pain problems be visibly in pain because they have to sit for so long during a disability hearing. They might have to sit for an hour or more, and that can be extremely uncomfortable. So you can see the person shifting around in their chair, trying to get comfortable. You can see that often the pain on the client's face, and the Social Security judge gets to see the same thing that I'm seeing. And these visual signs of anxiety or pain are far, far more powerful to the judge than just listening to someone try to describe the same thing to the judge over the phone. The visual signs of the anxiety and pain are right there for the judge to see. And when we have phone hearings, the judges miss out on all that powerful, powerful visual information. That's one reason that I advise my clients to choose in-person hearings instead of phone hearings. Now, why are so many disability lawyers doing the opposite of what I do? Why are so many disability lawyers recommending that their clients choose the phone hearings? Well, that disability lawyer that I saw in the first YouTube video that I talked about, the guy that said that justice is blind. At the end of his video, he said something else that I think probably explains the real reason why he and some of these other disability lawyers are recommending phone hearings over in-person hearings. So the lawyer that said that justice is blind, at the end of his hearing, he said that he loves phone hearings. He said he's sick of traveling everywhere and wearing a suit, and he likes wearing polo shirts instead of suits during his hearings. And so he highly recommends phone hearings. Now, I think that right there is the real reason that that lawyer and a lot of these other disability lawyers are recommending phone hearings. It's not for the benefit of the clients, it's for the benefit of the lawyer. The lawyers don't like having to travel to go to the hearings. They don't like having to dress up. They don't like all the extra time that it takes to represent their clients at an in-person Social Security disability hearing. It's simply more convenient for the lawyer to be able to do a phone hearing because the lawyer can do that hearing from anywhere. Lawyer can do that hearing from the office, from the lawyer's house, or any other place, private place that the lawyer might be. And the lawyer doesn't have to get dressed up, and it really does save a lot of time. But in my opinion, that's really not a good reason to recommend that the client agree to the phone hearing, because none of that convenience for the lawyer has anything to do with the client's chances of winning the disability case. And when I'm representing a client at a disability hearing, I'm not concerned about the fact that I have to get dressed up. I'm not concerned about the fact that I have to drive to the hearing office. My main concern is trying to win this client's case. I'm trying to help my client get their disability claim approved. And so I'm willing to do whatever gives my client the best chance at winning the case. And in my opinion, because of all this powerful visual evidence that the judge gets to see at an in-person hearing, I think that increases my client's chances of winning their disability claim. So for that reason, I recommend that my clients choose in-person hearings. And if you're having to choose, if you have a disability case, your claim has been denied, if you have to choose between an in-person hearing or a phone hearing, think about it from that perspective. Don't choose what's most convenient for the lawyer. Choose what gives you the best chance of winning your disability claim.